Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa channel. Let's continue. We continue from the previous episode as we see director Kyan Muzone pressing his fractured wrist, breath uneven and sharp. There's no way the sensor could have detected me at that range. And yet the signal reached him. Sparks flickered between his gloves as he muttered a curse. Useless junk. His gaze locked on the hovering radar display, unease spreading like frost in his chest. That machine shouldn't even exist. A faint glow spread from the metal box on his lap, the surface heating rapidly. Realizing what it was, he grabbed it, pulse spiking. Useless junk. In one quick jerk, he tore out a silver sphere leaking electric steam and hurled it toward the ceiling. The sphere burst apart with a thunderous boom as scattered fragments lit the sky in blinding white. Within seconds, a spiraling vortex appeared at the blast's core, devouring everything in its pull. Then slowly, it collapsed inward until nothing remained. Kyan Muzone released the breath he had been holding, trembling slightly. A second later and I would have been erased along with that field. He rubbed his temple, rage bubbling beneath his breath. Lost a whole singularity core for nothing. From the inside pocket of his coat, he pulled another device. That leaves only two in reserve, doesn't it? He steadied his breathing, his mind calculating routes. I can't return to the sector on foot. Any signal now will get tracked. Suddenly his pupils dilated, alarm flashing. He clicked his tongue sharply, annoyed at the timing. They found my trace already. A quick glance at his wrist interface made his blood run cold. How are they moving this fast? His hands flew across the pad, setting a fresh coordinate link. The entire operation now in ruins. As the sequence engaged, a surge of violet light wrapped around his figure. In a blink, Kyan Muzone disappeared, tearing through layers of reality. Scene shifts to the assembly of the Alliance Council. For decades, the thin peace between the three sovereign factions and their agreed regulations had kept the Council's elders and enforcement heads from ever sitting in the same chamber. After the emergence of the Blade Sovereign clan, those encounters grew even rarer. Yet today, every influential elder who once ignored prior summons had arrived. For the first time in a generation, the Grand Council arena was alive. At the foremost seat sat the Supreme Marshal of the Alliance, North Justice Blade Yimik. In front of him stood the head tactician, Yubim Reed, clad in ivory. Beside him waited the Grand Master of the Shangsha Sword Domain, Magushon, dressed in scarlet. Across from them rested the second master, Abbot of Sharolan, Garkan. To his right sat the figure in green robes. 13th Elder, Patriarch of the Jiggle bloodline, Jiggle Yong. Next to him, robed in white, was the 14th Elder, Spiritual Leader of the Zhongnan Temple, Jaekyang. The blue-robed 17th Elder, Ruler of the Habak Pong Dominion, Pong Yu, and the brown-robed 18th Elder, Commander of the Jinu Yang Branch, Yin Yong Yin. Along the edges gathered the captains of each tactical unit beneath the Alliance's watch. Only 4 notable seats remained empty. The 7th Elder, Muong Kong, had yet to return from the expedition beyond the Northern Rift. The 15th Master, Huang Bon, had vanished during the North Sea expedition. The 3rd Master, Nam Bang Kyung, was ambushed in Xinjiang and never returned. And the 9th Master, Huan Messian of the Body Sect, fell in Jiangsu under a sudden strike by the Blade Sovereign's covert division. Among the missing were Yang Buso, captain of the North Justice Vanguard, currently locked in advanced formation training, and Kong Soa, leader of the Shadow Wing Squad, who perished beneath the frozen waters. A man in black brushed his beard in silence, weighing the tension. The chamber carries the scent of morning, an omen before a storm. A sense of unease lingered. Yimik slowly rose from his seat, clapped once, and spoke with sharp precision. Gratitude to each of you for arriving under such haste. Time is not a luxury tonight. We advance to the heart of the matter. His hand gestured toward the entrance. Bring the witness. Within seconds, a figure in violet stepped through the doors, each stride steady and deliberate. One of the elders leaned forward, startled. The Shadow Wing Squad's vice captain M.Y. Zhang. His deployment was to the Northern Sea with Kong Soa. So why was he standing here now? The man inclined his head, both palms raised in salute. Respected pillars of the Alliance, I, Mikimo, newly appointed commander of the Shadow Wing Squad, pay my respects. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. A new commander so soon. The Abbot of Sharolan, Garkyan, shifted his piercing gaze toward the Supreme Chair. The weight of unanswered questions pressed on the room. Yimik lifted his hand, stilling the whispers around him. The commander will deliver his report. Makimo stepped forward, tension tightening every word. No embellishment, only truth. The hidden fortress of the Blade Sovereign Division has been found. Jiggle Yong shot up from his seat, his expression sharpened like steel. The Blade's sovereign base. Peng Yu followed, standing stiffly, his attention fixed on Makimo's next move. The council leaned in closer as he approached the map table. In one swift movement, his finger struck down on the parchment. It is here. The tip pressed over Hongzan. In Hongzan, Hongzhoujiang province, Henggu stiffened, a line of sweat trailing down his temple. Hangan, an ancient mountain encircled by jagged cliffs and misty ravines. A terrain both dangerous and ideal for concealing movements. Indeed, a natural fortress where eyes rarely wander. One of the Beggar Union heads finally broke the silence. How did Commander Makimo even uncover their presence there? Since the fall of Jiangsu and Zhu Jiang to the Blade Sovereign Division, anyone crossing that threshold had been erased without leaving a trace. Makimo lowered his head slightly, voice carrying controlled steadiness. Even the greatest of the three orthodox intelligence webs suffered tremendous losses. Your suspicions are warranted, Master. He lifted his gaze, resolve sharpening. Before I explain, look closely at this. Makimo's glance shifted toward Yimik. The leader gave a curt nod. Reveal it. At the signal, the gatekeepers swung open the towering doors. A moment later, attendants wheeled in a colossal cart shrouded beneath thick fabric. With a swift tug, a man yanked away the covering. Jiggle Yong and Yin Yong sprang to their feet, faces rigid with shock. Murmurs spread, even among the elder masters. What stands before us defies expectation. Makimo stepped forward, his steps echoing in the chamber. That creature is the CWYRM. Several elders leaned in, studying the enormous head resting upon the cart. The WYRM's jagged horns and scaled muzzle mirrored the stories passed down for centuries. One voice whispered in awe. The Beggar Union had noticed something stirring in the rear. Another group entered, pulling a second cart wrapped in cloth, smaller but heavier. It stopped at the foot of the council's dais. There is more, a master muttered warily. At a flick of Makimo's hand, the cloth was lifted. The air turned cold. What horror have we brought in? Someone breathed. Piled inside were withered remains, flesh blackened and crawling with decay. The rank stench bit at every throat. Covering his mouth, the Beggar Union head stepped forward. Commander Makimo, these corpses, what purpose do they serve? Makimo's tone carried a hard edge. These were the Sovereign Division's blades and their leader. A deep silence rippled through the council. The Beggar Union head pressed two fingers along a corpse's chest. The identifiers exist in their dead. His hand struck several hidden points and then froze midair. Their internal flows are always shattered after death to guard their secrets. This pattern alone is enough. He stepped back slowly, realization flooding his gaze. Then he turned to the assembly. The marks leave no doubt. Yimik, still seated, raised his hand in quiet command. If all verification is complete, return to your positions. The chamber stilled. The rustle of robes filled the silence as the elders resumed their seats. Yimik finally rose, his long mantle brushing the floor. His voice carried like rolling thunder. Before all of you rests the head of the Northern CWYRM and the remains of the Blade Sovereign Division. The hall grew heavier. Yimik pressed on, his words cutting sharp. Commander M and the Shadow Wing pursued the fleeing division from the northern waters. That trail exposed their base and secured this evidence. Master Chong Su, dressed in white, narrowed his eyes, his voice slicing through the quiet. The proof is absolute. However, one question lingered. He crossed his arms, eyes locked on Makimo. I mean, no disrespect to Commander Makimo's tactical skill. But if even our scouts could not penetrate Zhu Jiang, how did you uncover their command center? Makimo inclined his head respectfully. Your doubt is warranted, Master Chong Su. Had their full ranks been present, even I would not have returned unscathed. Chong Su's gaze sharpened, curiosity and caution mixing. What do you mean by that? Makimo recalled the mission vividly, his expression hardening. While tracing their movements in Hongshan during my covert pursuit, a considerable segment of their troops had been absent. With their current numbers, a coordinated strike from the Alliance could crush them easily. The Beggar Union head leaned forward, brow furrowed. Then the reason for the emergency summons became clear. Yimik's gaze shifted to the strategist seated nearby. Strategist Yubim Reed rose with fluid precision, straightening his white sleeves. This information comes from one of our agents deep within the Shadow Dominion's territory. He paused, letting the weight sink in. The Blade Lord, present commander of the Blade Sovereign Division, has moved part of his army west toward the highlands of Napsor in Tibet. Yubim Reed continued, voice steady yet grave, and as some masters may already know, another faction of their forces was dispatched north to track the CWM. At this revelation, Peng Yu slammed his hand on the table, voice reverberating throughout the hall. The Northern Sea Expedition's deployment was due to this. Reed's expression darkened, tone lowering with intensity. After consolidating all intelligence gathered, he spoke deliberately. I have concluded their ambition is far greater than merely claiming the Central Plains. The council grew silent. Each master's face tightened under the weight of his words. The Blade Sovereign Division intends to capture the sacred beasts themselves, those guarding the Imperial Palace, the one from the Northern Waters, and even the creature in Napsor. If you appreciated the account, remember to mark it, subscribe, and enable notifications to follow the next report. Until then.